Right, hello there everyone, welcome back to James Redmond TV and welcome to another Redmond Roundup, the show where we bring you all the latest news and updates on Liverpool Football Club, but also the footballing world. People, you are always showing and smashing the support on these Redmond Roundups, so I do really appreciate it. All the people who are subscribing to the channel, I really appreciate it. And even if you have decided to click on this video and press a dislike, I just want you to know I appreciate you, you gorgeous, gorgeous person, whoever you may be, and thank you for the chance. Anyway, enough rambling, yeah, and let's get right into today's Redmond Roundup. So there's quite a few things that I'd like to talk about today. Of course, the timestamps are always there for those who only have, 24 hours in a day and can't sit there and watch the full video. But I want to touch on the Champions League. Man City are through to the final. Got to give them the kudos that they deserve. But before we do touch on the Champions League and whatnot, let's get into the Liverpool news and updates. The first piece of news that I want to talk about is Konate to Liverpool. Obviously, the latest update that we as the Liverpool fans have on Konate at the minute is pretty much that we've got personal terms agreed, but now it's just about agreeing a fee with Leipzig in terms of and then once that's done, we can then sign Konate and boom, we can fuck off Ben Davies, the little hologram. Love Ben Davies. Made up that he got to, have his little presentation with the Liverpool shirt and, got to say he played for Liverpool, even though he hasn't actually played, but still, it was a nice little fairy tale story. But now we need to start buying players that's going to be winning us Champions Leagues. And even though Konate may not be on the level to win us a Champions League yet, he is 21. He has shown that he has got the attributes that fits what Jurgen Klopp wants in a back four in terms of height, pace, very physical. So there's no reason why this wouldn't be a good signing in terms of at least to go for, because hindsight can be a beautiful thing and Konate could end up being proper shit. But let's say he doesn't end up being proper shit and he's even just okay. Doesn't set the world alight, has a few performances that are sound, then we sell him on. We're most likely still going to make a profit because he's only 21 years of age. So when you think of it in that perspective, there's not so much that can go wrong here. Now, when it comes to how much money will we be spending on Konate from Leipzig, how much will the fee be? I've saw between 25 million and 50 million. It's been one of them ones where there was rumoured it was going to go as low as 30 million euros, which obviously makes it under 30 million pounds. Then now it's talking about being 40 million euros. I think the roughly what we're going to have to pay is maybe 35 to 40 million plus add-ons. If I am to make a guess of how much this transfer is to be, then I believe that is probably how much we're going to have to spend. I think this would be a good deal if we could get it over the line. I've said this for a while now. People look a lot into his injury record, and don't get me wrong, it's not the most ideal that he's got, muscle tears and stuff at his young age. So it might be a bit of a big risk to take, but it's a risk that I feel like we have to take. And even though we sign Konate, I don't know if that necessarily means we definitely sell Joel Matip, especially when we've got other assets within the squad that we could maybe push on forward. Let me know what you would do in the comments down below. If we could go into next season with Matip, with Gomez, with Van Dijk and with Konate, I'm not going to lie. Bear in mind, we keep forgetting to talk about fucking Kabak. Kabak's another option that's going to be there next season. So maybe we don't even need Joel Matip. And I love Joel Matip. I think he's the second best centre-back at Liverpool Football Club and not too far behind Van Dijk. I think Matip is quality. Where every time he plays, there's not a foot put wrong. He's experienced, he wants to win, he has the will to win, and when he's in the team, we are a better team for it. And anyone, neutral or Liverpool fan, that doesn't realise that simply doesn't watch Joel Matip. That must be what it is, because if you do watch him, you don't have a problem with whether he plays or not. So I know Joel Matip gets a lot of injuries, but that's why I'm finding it very difficult to just sort of let him go. But if there is anyone of the centre-backs that's not got the name of Ben Davies, it's most likely going to be Joel Matip that leaves. Whether it's back to the Bundesliga or whatever, I don't know. But it's just a shame that he can't play more than 3 games together, man. Otherwise, we would have, I think, even this season, the best centre-back in the league. I really, really do feel that. Ruben Diaz is boss, do you know what I mean? Sweet. And then Thiago Silva's amazing. But to say that they would have been Like, say if Joel Matip could have just, like, remember the end of the 18-19 season when he played from, like, January till the end of the season? He overtook Joe Gomez at centre-back. And I say overtook because Joe Gomez was supposed to be the fucking man who was supposed to go in that defence with Virgil van Dijk and just lead us to success. And we did end up winning a few trophies with that partnership. We won the Premier League last year. But when Matip was playing next to Van Dijk, I'm not going to lie, me and many other Liverpool fans included were saying Matip should genuinely, and we mean this with all of our heart, should have been rated higher than Virgil van Dijk for the performances he was putting in at the dead ends of that season. And it was Van Dijk who was going for the Ballon d'Or. Yeah, he deserved it more than Matip, but still Matip was on that level in terms of what he was performing week in, week out. Unreal centre-back, and he also has always been able to cover for his lack of pace. So that's why I love Joel Matip. And this was supposed to be a segment talking about Konate. But when you link together that one centre-back will most likely have to go, with the fact we're going to be most likely buying Kabak too, I think that centre-back will be Joel Matip. And I just have a tough time with that. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you think Konate would be a good signing, or would you prefer to go with somebody else? Right, now the next thing I want to talk about is Gini Wijnaldum and his position at Liverpool Football Club. Very unpredictable sort of thing to be talking about. And I've said my stance on Gini Wijnaldum and what I want for Gini Wijnaldum. I would have loved Gini to get a new contract after the Champions League final. If I could have had it my way, that's what would have happened. He's probably now sitting on 2 years left, if that did happen, but it didn't. And now he's sitting on about 2 months left of his contract, which is a shame, because when you talk about Gini Wijnaldum, is he the most clinical player in front of goal? Fucking far from it. Can't score a goal to save his life, it seems. At least when he's wearing a Liverpool shirt. When he's wearing the Netherlands shirt, he looks like Messi. Anyway, assists. He hasn't registered an assist all season, from my knowledge. And if he has, it's no more than 1 or 2, because I swear I saw a stat not too long ago basically saying when it comes to creativity, he's not someone who has a lot to offer. But let me tell you what he does have to offer. Experience. He also has to offer versatility. And he also has to offer reliability. And that's something that Liverpool really can't be too complacent about. When you see a player who is there week in and week out, whether he's playing great week in, week out is not the question we should be asking. Gini Wijnaldum this season has turned up to work every single week, every single game. That can't be overlooked. Not only has he done that, whether he's played well or not, I feel, bar the last few performances, Gini has worked harder than most players on that pitch. I'll tell you that now. And to be honest with you, if Gini's bad form right now is due to the fact he hasn't been given a new contract, he hasn't been given that respect, then to be honest with you, mate, if one foot's out the door, I understand that. I'm not saying it, you shouldn't be trying and shit like that, but I'm sure he's still trying. I'm sure he's still, putting in everything he can for the team. But if half of your mind is elsewhere, and that's because FSG won't give you a new contract, then that's just the way it is. Do you know what I mean? From my knowledge, Klopp wants to keep him. Gini's wanted to stay. He's literally said it over interviews for months. And it looks like he's still going to go. So, I've said all season he will leave. I don't want him to leave, but that just looks like it's the way it's going to be. The question we need to ask is, who's going to replace him? We've been linked with names like Basuma from Brighton. We've been linked with names like, Lord, get me through this one. Niehaus. I'm not really sure if that's like how you exactly say it, but he's German, or he's from the German league. He plays for, not Leverkusen, who's the fucking team? Mönchengladbach, that's who he plays for, midfielder. Looks very good on the ball, to be fair. Going forward, looks like he has quite a bit to offer. 23 years of age. Doesn't look too bad. And then also, Sanderberg. So they're the 3 players that I've seen us linked with most in terms of who is most likely to replace Gini Wijnaldum. Out of those 3 names, or if there's anyone else you want to throw into the hat, who would you say would be the most suitable replacement? When I look at that list, I'm not going to lie, Basuma screams like it should be him. But I feel like Basuma, he doesn't offer that attacking element that maybe someone like a Niehaus from Mönchengladbach does in terms of going forward. And I would love a midfielder that could just not... It doesn't have to be a Coutinho who is just attacking, but like a box-to-box midfielder who has got the ability on the ball to really be able to create something for our team from the midfield. Because that's the one thing we've lacked, and that's why I'd say maybe Niehaus. I'd look at Sanderberg and I'd look at Basuma more as sort of defensive-minded players who, yes, can still have something to offer going forward, but mostly their brain is to control the other end of the pitch and give a bit of sort of cover to the back four. But let me know in the comments down below, What would you do if you're in that position? Do you keep Gini Wijnaldum, or do you sign one of them three? Or whoever you may want to throw into the mix, who would you sign to replace Gini Wijnaldum? The next thing I want to talk about, and it gives me a good chance to touch on Man City's brilliant victory over PSG. Have to give the credit where credit is due, and a phenomenal 2 victories, not just 1 victory, 2 victories. They beat them 2-1 in the first leg, 2-0 in the second. Bear in mind, you know, there's so many little storylines going into this game. You have Man City and PSG, the 2 money clubs. You had Mauricio Pochettino versus Pep Guardiola. You had De Bruyne versus Neymar, who, in my opinion, right now, they're probably the 2 best players in the world. You're talking about the 2 best youngsters really going at it in Phil Foden and Mbappe, which, to be honest with you, I think that's more of a fair conversation than Mbappe and Haaland, because Haaland's a pure number 9, he's not a winger, and when you compare Mbappe and Haaland purely as a number 9, Haaland eclipses Mbappe, scores more goals than Mbappe, he's just a well better striker. If you're talking about who's a better left winger, Haaland doesn't play left wing, so obviously it's Mbappe, but why... It's like comparing friggin', you know, Aguero's a better striker than Alisson, but is he a better goalkeeper? Of course he's fucking not. Do you know what I'm saying? But that's the type of case that I'm trying to make. You shouldn't be judging Haaland on positions that he doesn't play in. Does that make sense? Whereas Phil Foden, he's played all across the front 3. So why aren't we talking about Mbappe versus Foden? And not to mention, Foden, like, you know, I feel like just because he hasn't won a World Cup, bear in mind he plays for England, he doesn't really get talked about as much as Mbappe. But I feel like technically on the ball, he's probably a better player. And again, a man-of-the-match performance in what was a huge game in a semi-final. Where the fuck was Mbappe? Mbappe for both legs? Where the fuck was Mbappe for the Champions League final last season? Do you get what I'm trying to say? I'm not trying to say Mbappe does absolutely nothing. I love Mbappe, and I would love him at Liverpool. And I do absolutely believe he's one of the best young players in world football. But Phil Foden, for me, he's a different level. And I think we just don't know it yet. But I think Phil Foden is the second best player in that Man City team, just behind De Bruyne. But I think it's sort of one of them things where people, if they don't know, they will get to know over the next few weeks and games and years and stuff like that. He's 20, mate, so people will get to know. But Aguero to Liverpool, listen, I don't see Liverpool pursuing a deal for Aguero, even though it's going to be free, you know, even though he's done this, that and the other. I think Aguero will want to go to a Premier League team. You know, he's trying to go for the Premier League goal scoring records. He's trying to achieve more, I'm assuming. Listen, mate, I'm sure Aguero is happy in England. Bear in mind, you know, Liverpool isn't too far away from Manchester, and he's not going to join Manchester United. But he might also want to go to London, maybe a Chelsea, maybe another team. We don't know. And also, would he want to join Liverpool when, over the course of his career, we and Chelsea have also been sort of his main rivals when it comes to competing for the title? So, I don't know. I don't know where Aguero's head lies and all of that business. That being said, would Liverpool like Aguero? Well, I think Liverpool would do well getting Aguero, but 32, 33 years of age, that's not even my number one problem. The problem is you are going to miss about 2 months, maybe 3 months of the season with Aguero out injured at some point. And even now, he's not playing in the City team, and that's because the way they play, and they don't play with a striker, which is sound. But I don't know, man. I think Aguero still has a lot to offer to most teams in the Premier League. I actually still think he will be one of the best finishers in world football. But we haven't got enough data off recent times, in my opinion, to really go out and take that risk. Now, if we don't go ahead and sign a younger striker, or say if we go and sign a Marlon from PSV, or if we sign a Patson Daka from where Erling Haaland played for, if we sign one of them two, they're a good signing, but you don't want to put all the trust into a young striker from one of them leagues and put them in the Premier League in your starting team that's supposed to be competing for Premier League titles. It's just not the smartest. In my opinion, it's not the smartest route to go down. However, if you're getting Aguero, someone who's experienced in the Premier League, in multiple seasons has scored more than 20 goals, someone who you know if he is going to play in your team, he is going to score goals, that's great and all, but is he going to press? Is he going to suit the style of play? Is he going to be able... He's still going to be able to make space for the other attackers. He's still going to be able to finish his dinner, unlike Bobby, Salah and Mane. But still, though, is he the best option? Bear in mind, you've got to think about wages. I don't know if he is. So, nostalgia tells me, yes, I would love Aguero. But you've got to try and think smart. and you've got to be quite logistic about some of these things, and to try and think smart, I don't know if that would be the best route to go down, but let me know what you think in the comments down below. Right, and then before we wrap up the video, we are going to look at a few of your comments. This is something that I've basically been trying to implement, so make sure in the comments down below you get your thoughts or any questions or any football topics you may have that you want me to talk about on the next Redmond Roundup. But the first one, coming from Rory, says, if you think Sancho will leave, where do you think he will end up? Liverpool or Manchester United? I think, Rory, the most likely destination for someone like a Jadon Sancho would be a Manchester United, based on the fact that they've got Champions League this season, based on the fact that I'm sure they're going to be able to spend more money on a Jadon Sancho than we will. Really, what I'm thinking is, what does Jadon Sancho want? Does he want to have that sort of link with Manchester United in terms of getting them more money, having the more chance of winning trophies more time any soon? Like, I'm pretty sure when you look at Man United, you know, not that they're more likely to win trophies than us next season, but if they have got Champions League alone, that's enough to maybe lure in Jadon Sancho over us. And also, if Jadon Sancho isn't a Liverpool fan, which I've never heard he is, then I don't know why he would feel the need to come to Liverpool over United. It's easy for me as a Scouser to be like, yeah, mate, I'd rather play for Liverpool than them fucking shite from Manchester. However, that's me. I'm someone who's grew up as a proper fan of this club and someone who loves this club. And it was basically, you know, put into me that you should hate Manchester United. It's not like that with Jadon Sancho. He played for Man City, but we know it's not that deep. So I think if there was anyone he was more likely to go to, it would be Manchester United for all those reasons as I've just mentioned. But still wouldn't completely rule him out coming to Liverpool, I'm sure. If we could get our marketing skills on right, then definitely that could happen for sure. Lewis says, would you take Ryan Kent back at Liverpool? Now, I wouldn't take him back. But what I would do with Ryan Kent is I wouldn't have sold him. And let me tell you why. I wouldn't have sold Ryan Kent based on the fact I thought he was better than Harry Wilson. And I actually thought he was better than most of the young wingers we had at the club. Obviously, we had Mane and Salah, but they're not young wingers. Like, the younger wingers who were coming out of the academy, I didn't think any of them had the ability of Ryan Kent. Or if they did, they hadn't showed it in games. You know, Harry Wilson, he's shown he could take a free kick, but we had Trent Alexander-Arnold and like Coutinho at the time, whereas Ryan Kent, he's shown he actually has a bit of pace to drive at players, someone who wanted to really go ahead and grab the game by the balls himself. But I just don't think he was given enough opportunity to really go ahead and showcase his skill and ability and whatnot. Otherwise, I think he could have maybe, right now, had an impact in this team. Let's be honest with ourselves, mate. We've got Jota, we've got Mane, we've got Salah. But then imagine having Ryan Kent as another option. I mean, I know it's the Scottish League and whatnot, but since he's gone there, he has smashed it. And there's no reason, based on the attributes he has, that he can come to the Premier League and not do as well, or at least any sort of anywhere near close. So let me know in the comments down below, would you take Ryan Kent back at Liverpool? I personally wouldn't, because I want to go for more now. I believe he's maybe, 23 years of age. If we're going to sign a winger, I want it to be a 19-year-old, 20-year-old, someone who we're going to fully invest ourselves into, someone who's going to feel they have a chance to get into the first team sooner rather than later. Ryan Kent, I don't know if he'd have that same belief, and I don't know if there would be that same sort of drive for him to do so. Plus, he's been here before, and it never worked out, so why do that whole thing again? But I wouldn't have sold him, is what I will say. And then, people, that is where I'm going to wrap it up, so hopefully you enjoyed today's Redmond Roundup. If you did, be sure to smash a like and all that other good stuff. Bit of a mad week of football yet again. Obviously, Chelsea and Real Madrid is tonight. If I'm going to leave you on a score prediction for that game, I'm saying Chelsea are going to go through and make it an all-English final. And I've also said for quite a while now, I think Chelsea are the ones to go ahead and win the Champions League. I don't think it's going to be City. I'm not going to lie to you yet. I think it's a great achievement. They got to the Champions League final, but I think it's going to be a little bit too much for them to really well and truly get it over the line. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. I think Chelsea will beat Real Madrid 2-1, and then they're going to beat City in the final 2-1 also. But we will see. I hope I'm wrong. I really do, because I don't want Chelsea to win the friggin' thing. I'd rather it probably be Real Madrid out of all these teams. Even though they knocked us out, I'd probably rather it be Real Madrid. And then out of City and Chelsea, I'd rather City, because I just hate Chelsea. But that's just the way it is for me. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Anyway, people, thank you for watching. Smash a like if you have enjoyed. If you haven't, then thank you for watching anyway. And I love you all. I will see you all later. Peace out.